Chapter live from Hollywood at Sunset and Vine on DJ SKEE, and it is my pleasure to welcome in the legendary Busta Rhymes. Woo! What up? Yeah. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
And I'm honored to be up here with one of my idols growing up. It's still in the game, going strong, putting out the hottest records in the world, the conglomerate. What's up with the takeover, dude?
Everything is up with the takeover. I like to describe it as on everything.com.
So people don't realize we already had one of your artists up earlier this season,
Absolutely.
OT. A lot of people didn't even realize out of the mix that he's signed to you under your conglomerate record. It was such a big record. Now you got J-Do's gonna perform later, a whole movement going on. How does it feel to have all the success that you're having now from a different perspective outside of just you as an artist?
I mean, every chapter that you get to add to the book of the legacy that you're trying to set up so that it can not just be a legacy that you want to call a legacy, but a legacy that can be celebrated as an honorable and a successful legacy, and a legacy that people would want to try to outdo and be just as great as is a blessing in itself. I got my name from Chuck D. We got the leaders of the new school name from Chuck D. We was taught the value of, being able to create that clamp that you're gonna need to have in whatever it is that you're trying to do. I always was a great sponge for information. So because I like to compete and I wanna be the best at everything and I wanna try to outdo everything, I took in all of this information because, at the time and still to this day, Chuck D is one of the greatest to ever do it. And I always wanted to make sure that I got his stamp of approval. That big brother pat on the back. And, when you're being told you're doing it the right way. So his standard was such a high bar. With that being said, I only know how to do it that way. So in doing business with OT Genesis and J-Do, in addition to them being incredibly talented, I kind of been through the stages of trying to put artists on for a long time for one reason or another that may not have necessarily been the best reason. Just going through those different things, I learned that it was a lot more important to find the superstars and the artists that had the potential to be superstars, because they didn't even realize they had this superstar thing in them. This conglomerate movement, despite it's young, is really showing every sign of how much we are quickly establishing the momentum of being recognized and respected as one of the new, potentially most powerful movements in music.
So we were talking about career legacies, what you're doing right now. What do you, in the end of the day, what do you want Busta Rhymes to be known for?
I haven't really thought about that.
Yeah.
I think it's cliche to say you want to be remembered as the best to ever do it. You want to be remembered as
I think you get slept on in that conversation because people forget the hits, the talent, the skill that you do. You're that one of the very few that can, obviously everybody knows about the speed, but that still makes it enunciate and make real records from that and turn up the club and do what you do. Do you feel like you kind of sometimes get forgotten about in that conversation? I feel like you're still kind of slept on in that way.
In certain instances, I definitely have to agree with you. But that's kind of like what makes it all the more exciting for me.
Yeah.
Because I think one of my greatest weapons is my kids. You know what I'm saying? It might be one of my kids' birthdays or something. They got their little homies over, they in a party or whatever. They get to yapping about who they top 5 is, I might not come up in the conversation, And me as a dad, a competitive MC that's still timelessly popping in the current market, I look at that and it's a little distasteful for me, like to see my kids and their homies talking about their favorite MCs, and I'm sitting in their face flipping the burger so they could enjoy a little cheeseburger or whatever at the birthday party with the apron on and all that. But I'm paying attention to this conversation and I'm like, you little bastards. Y'all ain't got no damn manners. Y'all don't see me right here. Y'all ain't acknowledging the greatness that is in the face of all of you little young bastards. So you know, I can't go over to them and be like, yo, you ain't remembering. So I listen to whoever they think is their favorite. And, you know, I make sure that I find my way in studios to collaborate with their favorites and end up on their favorites' records and bust their favorites' asses. And then come back to another event a few weeks later at the crib when I'm flipping more burgers for them and they talking and their conversations change. That's when I get the last laugh.
Funny how it all works out. Funny how it all works out. Bus, did you know growing up that this was what you were gonna do? Did you know it? What was that first moment for the kids out there? I always like to ask, you know, on your journey, when did you realize this is what I'm gonna do, this is my life, I'm gonna be, you know, the top of my craft?
I was about 9, 10 years old. My mother used to work nights. Me and my younger brother had to go and stay with Aunt Mitzi during the week. But the cool thing about staying at Aunt Mitzi's crib was the fact that her son was a real hip hop dude. He was older than us. So, you know, late night around 1, 2 in the morning when his moms go to sleep, he go and start bombing the subways and, you know, putting murals up on the side of buildings and, you know, all types of craziness. And he would take me with him when I was like 9, 10 years old, 11 years old. So I was able to actually experience hip hop from a dangerous perspective because, you know, that wasn't the thing to be doing because it wasn't legal to do it. So, you know, when we was doing that, we would also come back home to his crib and they had this one radio station on from like 2 to 5 in the morning called WHBI. They used to play these live battles. You would hear the crowd reacting to the routines and the punchlines and the metaphors and the flows and just the cleverness. And I was like, yo, I am going to do this.
And by the way, who went to your high school? Is this true?
Me, Biggie, and Jay went to school together. Me, Biggie, and Jay-Z went to school together.
Did you guys know each other then? And
absolutely, absolutely. Me and Big. Big really wasn't into rhyming in school. I never seen him really rhyme in school.
Did you know that he rhymed then? Was there rumors, or was he just like the homie?
I didn't know Biggie rhymed in school, because in school, we was cutting a lot of class and we was smoking a lot of weed and bullshit. I knew Jay-Z was rhyming because me and Jay-Z battled in school. Speed rapping.
Yeah, because Jay used to be faster. He came up under
he was with the originators and Jazzo and them, and he had finessed the speed rapping phenomenally at that time, and I was new with the speed rapping. But, you know, losing that battle to Jay and speed rapping at that time is what made me one of the most dangerous speed rappers today. And, you know, Jay know he can't see me in no speed rapping today.
That's crazy, right? A speed rapping Busta versus Jay. I don't think many people would say that. It's crazy to see how the...
Interestingly, though, he inspired my desire to want to master it because under the circumstances of how I took the L, it didn't rest well with me. You feel me? And too many people in the lunchrooms. It wasn't a big crowd, but we was in the lunchroom and the few people that saw it was the right people that I did not want to see it. So being that they saw it, you know, I always felt like I needed to sharpen my blade in case that moment of, you know, rematch came back, but that moment never came.
I mean, just off camera, I can't even believe the stuff you're telling me about Jay, Big. You guys all in the same high school together.
Yeah, everybody was doing their thing to get their money. We'll leave it at that. You know,
the
Reaganomics era. But Jay was always the type of brother that in school, he was always clean. He was always well kept, fresh, whatever the latest fashion forward statement was. He every day was draped the right way. Jewelry game was dangerous. And actually, Jay was the first dude that I seen come to school with the Big Daddy Kane, big Gucci link. For the first time I seen that in person. Big was a little more rugged with the wardrobe, but always had money, like big wads of money, just racks of bread. Everybody was doing the similar thing, so it kind of created a synergy that allowed us to have a respect for each other.
the three of you all in high school together that could arguably be on most people's top 5 lists. What's your top 5 list? Yeah, is that something you could even answer?
That's hard.
Right? I mean, today, it doesn't have to be forever.
My top 5, Rakim, Nas, Biggie, Jay-Z, Eminem. Of course, I'm in that top 5. but
we'll put you in the middle.
But I'm not really so much that guy that's
gonna say it.
I don't stroke my own ego because, excuse me, this is my alarm. I'm one of those wake up real late guys.
So wait, you're normally waking up right now?
Yeah, because I like to record in the night. I get the least distractions.
It's true. It makes sense.
Kids is in bed. Corporate America is asleep. No one is harassing me as much. I'm in the studio. I'm able to do exactly what I want. I can become whoever I want. I evolve into whatever I want to evolve into. I morph into whatever I want to morph into.
It's real.
Until I go to sleep.
Also, one question I've always wanted to ask you. So I listen to your albums. I remember I used to listen all the time, and you'd always have these intros before year 2000.
Yeah.
And recently, actually, it's funny because the girl that did some of the intros works in our office now. That was a little girl on that.
Yeah.
What were you doing the night?
Jay Love actually is. He's in your production team, and big up to Jay because he actually is responsible for every single one of the dramatic intros.
It's crazy.
On every one of the albums that you've heard me have dramatic intros.
Man, that's why we got him up here. We got that.
Absolutely. Big up to J Love. Word up.
But
and he actually just did the new intro for Extinction Level event too.
When is that coming, by the way? When is that coming?
That's gonna come at the end of the year, or probably the top of next year.
Bless us, there's an M record that comes out of nowhere, and I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. And then I'm like, oh, I gotta wait another year.
No, the reason why this album is taking so long is because for the first time in my whole career, I financed 100% on my own. First album that I haven't allowed myself to be subjected to record company stipulations. First album that I actually never allowed anyone to hear, to give their opinion. I just wanted to completely give my 100% soul, emotion, and thought process to the consumer without distraction. And it ended up starting to develop into feeling like the milestone project of my legacy.
You got to actually head back over to the stage to introduce Jado. And by the way, I love that you rep the whole West Coast so hard. You got Ingo, all your artists in the conglomerate, they're popping right now.
Yeah, everybody's pretty much West Coast as far as the recording artists are concerned. And it just so happened that what was the most effective thing to my soul and my energy was what I've been finding in the grains and soul of this West Coast geographic landscape. Now everybody else that want to be a part of the family outside of the West Coast, just come with it.
West Coast is on right now. Thank you, Busta Rhymes. We're going to let you head back over there so you can go introduce Jado. My guy. Right now, we're going to take you back to that stage for Kimbe X.